You know that classic image of human evolution, the one showing a straight line from ape to us? Well, it's wrong. Totally, completely wrong. What if the world was once a fantasy novel, home to many different kinds of humans, from tiny, 3-foot-tall hobbits to powerhouse Neanderthals? This isn't make-believe. This is the unbelievable real story of our family. And it's a detective story. Out of all those different branches on the human family tree, only one survived. Us, Homo sapiens. So, what happened to everyone else? How did we become the last humans left? We're about to uncover that secret. For millions of years, the story of humanity wasn't a solo act. It was a full-blown ensemble cast. Go back just 300,000 years, and you would have found several different human species walking the earth at the same time, spread out across Africa, Europe, and Asia. In that world, we, Homo sapiens, were the new kids on the block. This completely shatters the old idea of a simple, straight-line march of progress. Our family tree isn't a tall, straight oak. It's more like a chaotic, branching bush, full of twists, turns, and dead ends. And figuring out why our branch is the only one left is the key to this entire mystery. So, let's meet some of our closest, now extinct relatives. Across the cold plains of Europe and Asia, you'd find the Neanderthals. And forget the cartoon cliché. They were highly intelligent and incredibly adaptable masters of their world for hundreds of thousands of years. They made complex tools, cared for their sick, and maybe even buried their dead. They weren't just brutes, they were human. Meanwhile, a more mysterious group roamed Asia. The Denisovans. For a long time, all we had of them were a few tiny fossils from a cave in Siberia. But their DNA has told us so much more. Genetic reconstructions, while debated, suggest a robust build. And their DNA holds another secret. They interbred with an even more ancient and mysterious superarchaic group, a population that had been in Eurasia for well over 1 million years. This is a true timeline anomaly. Then there were the real surprises. On the Indonesian island of Flores, archaeologists found a truly unique species, Homo floresiensis, nicknamed Hobbits. They stood at just over 1 meter tall and lived until at least 50,000 years ago. Despite having tiny brains, they hunted, made stone tools, and survived on an island with giant Komodo dragons. The Hobbits proved just how weird and wonderful our family tree really was. These were just a few of the characters. The world was a human mosaic. In the midst of all this diversity, our story began in Africa. The first anatomically modern humans, Homo sapiens, emerged around 300,000 years ago. Our earliest fossils suggest this wasn't a single event in one place, but a complex, continent-wide process. We had a lighter build and a new, high-domed skull for our big brains. But at first, we weren't anything special. But we had a trick up our sleeve. We developed smaller, more complex, and specialized tools. Fish hooks, harpoons, even sewing needles. But our real secret weapon wasn't made of stone or bone. It was our mind. Then, around 60,000 to 70,000 years ago, a major wave of our ancestors began to migrate out of Africa. This time was different. This time, it would change the world forever. When our ancestors walked into Asia and Europe, they weren't walking into an empty world. They came face to face with their long-lost cousins. This wasn't just a story of replacement. It was a story of interaction, competition, and interbreeding. The proof is inside you right now. If your ancestry is from outside of Africa, you likely have between 1% to 2% Neanderthal DNA. This means our ancestors didn't just live near Neanderthals. They had children with them. It's the same story with the Denisovans. Their DNA is especially common in people of Oceanian descent, up to 5% Denisovan ancestry. These genetic echoes are souvenirs from a time when we weren't alone. They weren't just others to our ancestors. They were partners. And then, in a geological blink of an eye, they were gone. The shocking disappearance. The Neanderthals vanished from the fossil record by around 40,000 years ago. The Hobbits disappeared from their island around the time modern humans likely arrived in the region. The last traces of the Denisovans also faded away. By roughly 40,000 years ago, we were alone. So, what happened? This is one of the biggest mysteries in science, and there's no easy answer. It was likely a perfect storm of factors. One leading theory is climate change. The ice ages brought dramatic and rapid shifts, and species adapted to one climate, like the Neanderthals, may have struggled. Another major factor was, well, us. Our arrival put new pressure on existing groups. We were competing for the same land and the same food. Even a tiny competitive advantage, multiplied over thousands of years, could have been enough to tip the scales. Some scientists also theorize that we brought new diseases with us from Africa. That their immune systems were not prepared for. Genetic evidence also points to a more subtle culprit. Inbreeding. Studies suggest Neanderthals lived in small, isolated groups with low genetic diversity. Or maybe, in a strange twist, they were loved to death, their smaller populations simply absorbed into a much larger one through interbreeding. So if a perfect storm wiped them out, what was our umbrella? What was the secret to our survival? Around shared stories, myths, and goals might just be our ultimate superpower. Our generalist nature was also key. We weren't just specialists in one environment. Our flexible diets and innovative tools allowed us to adapt everywhere. Think of it this way. A big, muscular Neanderthal body was like a gas-guzzling truck. Our sleeker bodies were more like fuel-efficient sedans, better able to handle times when resources got scarce. This story is our story. The world of Neanderthals, Denisovans, and Hobbits is gone, and we are its sole inheritors. But they're not completely gone. Their ghosts live on inside us, in the small percentage of our DNA that is a direct echo of those ancient encounters. They are a part of us, a reminder that our story isn't about a single, chosen lineage, but a complex tapestry woven from many different threads. It shows us just how fragile existence can be. And how a unique mix of social connection, imagination, and adaptability allowed one species, against all the odds, to become the last human on Earth.
Hit subscribe for more deep dives into the forgotten realities of history, tech, and luxury.